Hey there, it's Christina, and it's Sunday night, and I'm going through some old scrapbooks that I have here in the lower level of the house, and actually, I've always been one to take pictures. I've been into photography ever since the 80s, and actually even before that, when my grandfather had a Polaroid camera. So I used to make scrapbooks and add little sayings and save little souvenirs and kind of like celebrate everything, even if it was trivial, like little memories from things that I've done and jobs that I've had, and I saved everything. And I was doing scrapbooking long before scrapbooking got popular in the physical sense, and I guess I was Facebooking sort of long before Facebook. So anyway, I'm just going through, like, I have about 12 photo albums, like old-fashioned, like, Kodak camera, go to the drugstore to get your pictures developed, be excited when they come back, and then sort them and paste them in here into chronological order and put little annotations. Oh my gosh, I used to do this. This is what I used to do instead of Facebook. Well, anyway, this one right here is my welcome to my first job in the medical field, in the clinical field ever, and this was at American Medical Laboratories, and anybody that lived in Fairfax City might remember it here on Main Street. There's the address. And I was a lab technician in the histology department, and histology has to do with tissues, so we received tissue samples from all the physicians in the Northern Virginia area, outpatient care, some hospital specimens as well. And these were biopsies, so a lot of screenings for cancer, a lot of bone marrow biopsies, endometrial biopsies, prostate biopsies, mole removals, a lot of different things. So I started this job in July 1989. It's been like a long time ago. And I was pre-med at the time. I was planning on going to medical school, so my advisor at George Mason University told me, in addition to taking your classes, get a job in the medical field, something that you can do to immerse yourself into the real life, how this industry is, and see if you like it. So my first job actually was in 1985. I was working at the White House. My mom worked for the Treasury Department for many, many years, like I should say decades, I think 20 years. And there was a summer internship that came up in 1985, and she tossed my name into the applicants, and that's what I did. But it's funny because it's such a great opportunity, but I wanted to do something clinical. So when I got this job at American Medical Labs, I was so excited because it was my first medical job. And I also processed tissue biopsies for the cardiac surgeons at Fairfax Hospital, Dr. Lafrac. He's a cardiac surgeon. He's in charge of heart transplants, and I was in charge of processing the heart biopsies that came to us stat, and that was like one of the most important roles I had here. And those that specimen took priority over everything else that we were doing, because we had patients, heart transplant patients, that were waiting to see the results of this test. And what it really did is a heart transplant is, pretty much foreign tissue in the body, and the patient is on immune suppressing drugs, and we want to make sure that the body is accepting the tissue and assimilating pretty well, and not mounting an immune response against that tissue, new heart tissue. And the test that we did would reveal the disposition of that. So I always felt so important to be doing that for Dr. Lafrac. He is cardiac surgeon at Fairfax Hospital, and then I worked with all the other pathologists too. and the specimens came in from medical couriers, both from there's medical couriers that drive cars, there's medical couriers that, there's specimens that come in through regionally on airlines. So when flights come in to Dulles International Airport, we would receive specimens too. And by the way, I did this job 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Monday through Friday while I was putting myself through school, using the income from this job to pay for my tuition and books and any kind of fees that George Mason had at the time. It was it's less expensive than it is now. I'm making this video in 2014, but still at the time it was expensive for me. So I was just doing this. So my days and evenings were very full, and I also was working out and making meals and stuff like that. I didn't have a pet at the time, like I have dogs now. So yeah, I'm just reminiscing and trying to sort of photojournal my history, because it's just all in these physical albums. So I wanted to put a couple things online to just for myself and for anybody who might care, or something I can reference back to that's online and available digitally. I might write a book, so I'm trying to figure out, well, what date did I work at that place? And oh, by the way, American Medical Labs was sold. A lot of the places that I've worked to have gone through mergers and acquisitions, or not even the same places that the names are. Like, this is Quest Diagnostics now. So Quest Diagnostics, this is what American Medical Labs, they bought them out. So it's a reference lab. We received all sorts of specimens for not just histology, but chemistry and cytology and microbiology and immunology, toxicology, like all of that. And we also did, like in histology lab, we would process the specimens. They went through a certain cycle of they would come in and they would be accessioned, and what that means is just identifying what they are and where they go, and giving them a unique identifier, a code, a number, an alphanumeric number in our computer system, and moving them along so that they could be, we called gross and micro. So they're described grossly, that just means sort of like roughly, on the, physically, like when they first come in, they're given a gross description. And then they're processed through a machine that has different sequence and different durations of time that they're immersed in formalin, 10% formalin, and alcohol, and xylene. Yeah, I can't remember the exact way how it goes, but they go through this. They're in baskets and they go through, and then they come out and they're ready to be embedded in a paraffin block. They're seated in there. SEATED, seated in there, and then after that they are shaved. There's a machine called a microtomy, right? Microtomy, yeah. And very, 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 very thin sections of the paraffin block are laid out like ribbons on a warm water bath, and then you put a slide under that, and then it adheres to it, and then they're baked in the oven for a little while, and then they go through an H&E stain, a hematoxylin and eosin stain, and depending on what it is, it might get a special stain for immunoperoxidase or Campylobacter, or there's some other things too. And then after it's on the slide, it's cover slipped and put in a tray and given to the pathologist to do the micro part, which is the microscopy. They look under the microscope and give their impressions of what they see, if they see anything abnormal with the cells. So, gosh, how much did I make when I think I was making $9 or $11 an hour here. I got a little bit extra because I was working the evening shifts, so that helped. And also that was the shift I needed to take my classes during the day. And all I can tell you is I was busy from like morning to night. And if you ask me, like, would I ever be able to go do this again, I just don't know. I had so much energy, but I worked out and I ate right, so that kind of fueled me. And I put myself through school, and this is one of the jobs that I did it with. I never had any student loans, never had any student debt. Even way back then, I did not want to incur debt. I didn't have consumer debt. I didn't go crazy with credit cards. I was always disciplined and responsible and trying to make a life for myself. At this point in my career, I really did think that I was going to medical school. So I was excited to get this experience and have these references. All these doctors, were all telling me I was doing such a great job, and they were very well known in the Northern Virginia area. So, yeah, it was an exciting time. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say and document about American Medical Labs, American Medical Laboratories. Oh, I don't know if my friend Donna would ever see this video. Donna Rouse. She's one of my best friends that I met, and we worked there together, and we just used to laugh and have so much fun. And she had such a great personality. She used to live in Manassas, and just a fun coworker that I remember. And sometimes I'd have to work overtime because some of the regional doctors, they would send in their specimens. Like I said, they would arrive through airplane, through flights. And sometimes flights get rescheduled, canceled, whatever. And we would have to stay until all the specimens came in. So, of course, all the ones in the local radius are delivered by courier, like a car. They came on ice chests and all different kind of things. But the regional clients that we had that send things by air, we'd have to wait. So sometimes I would work to 3 and 4 in the morning, whatever it took. And then I would go home, and it would be hard to just, fall asleep. Like, you need some time to wind down. And then, like, the nights that I'd work overtime, I'd get home around 4 or 5 and then go to sleep. And then sometimes in the summertime, they'd start mowing grass outside of my bedroom window, and in the fall they'd start blowing leaves outside of the window like at 8 a.m. and oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, I always was a night person, but I think my classes, I always scheduled them around 10:30. Oh my gosh, I don't know how I did it. But I'm so proud of myself. I absolutely did do it, but I don't know how. Anyway, I think I've been rambling on. I think that's all the things that I can remember and that I want to say about American Medical Labs, now Quest Diagnostics. July 1989, I was pre-med at George Mason University, and this is my first medical job.